Hi, this is Joe Sachetta Callahan. About a year ago, we changed our tagline to Fall Life's Road Ahead. And on Fall Life's Road Ahead, one of the things we often think about is housing, both now and down the road. So as we approach retirement, we need to think about, do we continue to have the house with everybody that's moved out of the house? Do we keep the big house? Do we downsize? Do we rent? Do we buy? Do we have multiple houses? What do we do? So today I wanted to quickly talk to you about the concept of over 55 communities, because that's where I live. I'm not an expert at it. We only looked at two. We ended up going to the second one that we looked at up in Topsfield. Where we live, there are 49 units, and as I go through this discussion, we're going to be talking about they being the homeowners association. In reality, they is us. We are the homeowners association. We have a small group of people that volunteer to serve on the homeowners association, representing the entire group. That's a majority rule type thing, and the homeowners association is there to carry out those rules. There are a number of pros and cons to over 55 living, over 55 communities. Today I want to quickly go through those, keeping in mind that what I might consider to be a con or a pro might be just the opposite for you, because we're all different. We all have our own personal preferences. So let's start off with the cons. One of the cons could be the HOA fees, the homeowners association fees. Obviously, the homeowners association fees are something we have to pay. Like everything else in life, they keep going up. But there's a misconception out there that I think that people think that somebody's getting rich off the HOA fees, and that's not the case. The entire amount of the HOA fees goes to pay for the services that we get, both now and down the road. So there are reserves that we're paying into so that when it's time to paint the house or fix the roof or fix the septic, money has been set aside for that. So some of the other cons that you might find, there are a lot of rules and regulations to an over 55 community. Many of those rules and regulations are driven by the town. To get licensed to put in the development, the developer has to make concessions, and some of those concessions are that there's an age limit. You need to be over a particular age, say 55 or 60, to get into the community. There may be a limit on how many people can live in the house. Where I live, we're limited to 3 people. Other communities, there's no limit to how many people you have, but you can't have any school-age children. One of the things they're watching for is they don't want to have all these developments pop up and then burden the school system with all kinds of extra school-age children. Where I live, some of the rules and regulations prohibit us from basically having a garden. We can't have an outside hot tub. We're not allowed to put up Christmas decorations and things of that nature. And there's not a lot of services that are provided by the town. We are our own community. We do our own plowing and leaves and what have you. But we still pay a very high real estate tax, despite the fact that we pretty much just get trash removal, fire and police protection. There may be parking restrictions where you live in these communities. You might not be allowed to park on the street, might not be allowed to park in your driveway, you might have to put your car in the garage, may limit how many cars you can have, that type of thing. So be sure to read all the rules and regulations before buying. Everyone in the community has a voice, which means there are differences of opinion, majority rules, just like the rest of America. So if you can live with the cons, I think there are a lot of pros. So let me quickly move on to the pros. To me, the biggest pro is that they take care of everything on the outside of the property for us. This includes snow removal, both plowing and shoveling. And the companies that we have doing that do it in a very timely and do it very well. They cut the grass, they rake the leaves, they mulch, they care for the plants, they spread the fertilizer, they take care of the pool in the community center. The painting of the house is never our responsibility. It's done by the homeowners association out of our fees that we pay on a monthly basis. They take care of the roof, the paving, the streets, and what have you. So it's really an ideal situation for people who like to travel, who have seasonal homes. Many people who live there spend a good part of the winter elsewhere. A lot of the people spend a good part of the summer elsewhere. But what I like best about it is a real feeling of community. There are 49 units where I live. We know the names of almost everybody that lives there. We have a relationship with many of these people as well. So like I said, it's a real feeling of community. Lastly, I want to touch on the idea of the homeowners association fees. I think there's a misconception that a lot of people think that somebody's getting rich off the HOA fees, and that's not the case. All of the fee goes for common expenses and services. I think of it as a wholesale approach, a Costco BJ's approach to buying. We're buying everything at wholesale prices instead of each of us individual homeowners negotiating at retail with the landscape or the snow removal company, what have you. The entire community is negotiating for one price. Our fees in our homeowners association include our homeowners insurance on the outside of the house. So we saw a dramatic drop in the cost of our homeowners insurance because we only have to insure the inside of the house and the contents. The security system on our house is paid up for out of the homeowners association fee, as is all of the water, sewer, and septic charges. So for us, moving into this homeowners association has really saved us money because the homeowners association fee is still less 7 years later than we were paying for a lot of those services 7 years ago before we moved into the over 55 community. So the only word of caution I would say, if you're really hung up on the homeowners association fee, look for a community that doesn't have as much space, so there's not as much to plow, there's not as much grass to cut. Maybe find a place that doesn't have a swimming pool or a community house, a fitness center, because all of those things are things that have costs. But if that's what you're looking for, just realize that you will be paying for it in the homeowners association fee. In wrapping up, I would say my wife and I are very satisfied with our decision to go into an over 55 community. It fits for us. It may not fit for everybody, but as you go down life's road ahead, we hope that some of what I talked about might be helpful for you. Feel free to call or email me. I'd be happy to discuss this further. Don't want to go on too long. Stay well and talk again soon.